Your heart. Words cannot express. The Heart Institute at Florida Medical Center. Log on to cbs4.com/yourheart.
5 months ago. This is by far the worst hospital ever, and I mean that with a disgusted passion. If you love your loved ones, avoid them at all costs, as they might not make it out of this hospital alive. The service was horrible. Nurses did not want to explain nothing to you. All they do is give attitude. No updates given on your loved ones. The case manager was of no help. The person who actually runs the whole hospital is worse. He has no empathy whatsoever, so explain why the staff behave how they do. One doctor gave me misleading information to put my loved one in hospice, which I had to revoke their rights when I realized what was taking place. The day before my loved one was to be transferred, they sedated them. I strongly believe it's because of the insurance the hospital claims. My loved one developed stage 4 bed sore. I witnessed another family bringing their loved one in for something minor, only to have their loved one die after 3 weeks in their care. This place is death and horror house and should be shut down by the state. A year ago, dirtiest hospital ever. Saw a cleaning lady in the bathroom, but she switched out the trash and never returned to the ER. Been here for 4 to 5 hours and it's been like this the entire time. Let's see. Rags on the floor. Damn. Yeah, it's not what you expect in a hospital. It looks like it's like a gas station bathroom, really. So many photos, so much detail. Gotta see it all. I don't know really what this is supposed to illustrate. Just that it's shitty. Oh, there's a bag of chips. It's nasty. I wouldn't like that. Yeah. 7 months ago. If I could leave 0 stars, I would. The lack of patient care is disgusting. The lack of care, period. Not once nurse introduced themselves when coming in the room. The laziness of the nurses showed last night will forever haunt me. The nurse drew blood for labs and left the blood tubes in my room. Never sent it over, stuck an IV in my arm, and never added the saline to the port. So for 45 minutes, I'm just sitting there with an IV port in my arm attached to nothing. Oh, and then I hear they'll leave for the night. Her shift was over, and she said not one thing to me. I came in for chest pains and was treated like I was some type of animal. When I demanded to be discharged with tears coming down because I was so livid, all they did was say calm down and remove the blood from my room. Again, waited another 20 until I couldn't anymore, and I removed the pointless IV port out of my arm. There was no one in ER, literally 3 patients, with 8 nurses talking and not caring. Wasted 3 hours of my life for nothing to just go to another hospital. I seriously don't understand how that place is even open. I would rather die in the streets than to ever step foot at that hospital. And the horrendous nurse name was Lovely. Wish there was somewhere I could report her. Honestly, everyone during that night shift was horrible. A year ago. They are horrible. My mother went in for chest pains. The doctor called me advising that she had to have emergency heart surgery for a torn heart valve. She had the surgery. She was in ICU for 2 weeks and they had just discharged her. I advised that she still needs assistance. This was a big procedure. She needed more time to heal and monitor. The doctor said she will be fine because she walked down the hall of the hospital. And they said they would assign her someone to visit 2 times a week. My mother was discharged Friday, August 5th, 2022, and I found her passed away Sunday, August 7th, 2022. I hate this hospital. How can you go from ICU to discharge a patient in 2 weeks from heart surgery? They do not care, have no compassion, and still have not advised the cause of death. This morgue they call a hospital needs to be shut down ASAP. And they actually responded to this one. Thank you for taking the time to leave a review. We are very sorry for your loss and ask that you send us your contact information so someone may reach out to you to discuss the experience. Your contact information can be sent to patient relations.
Welcome to your VITAS Inpatient Hospice Unit. A quiet, comfortable space. When someone needs care beyond what can be provided at home, visitors are welcome at any time. A home away from home. Call us to learn more or to schedule a personal tour. Toll free 866-418-4827.
8 months ago, my dad went to this ER due to COVID. He was there for 23 hours without any treatment or food. He was starving then. A nurse noticed his heart rate was high, so they sent him to the ICU. They sedated him heavily and strapped him to the bed. He couldn't move. I went to visit him in the morning, and when we got there, a nurse who was supposedly to be watching him was on his phone while the machine in his room is beeping and blinking red. No one noticed that this rate had dropped to 47. The nurse, Adriano, hardly speak English, and he could hardly understand when we speak. When we inquire why his heart rate is so low, that's when the APRN and the doctor rush in because my dad was unresponsive. He was oversedated. Nobody knew what was going on. Their response is they think, they should know. He has been in the ICU for 5 days and has contracted pneumonia and has 3 bed sores. They didn't feed him because he was hungry. His mouth was dry and parched as they were giving him medicine through the tubes in his nose, but no food for over 24 hours. They didn't clean him or brush his teeth. They neglected my dad. I realize that these people have no compassion, especially when they are old. This is the worst hospital I've ever seen where no one really cares about the sick. They lied about the bed sores. That is one small one. But them to find out it is stage 3, they call for a family member to come as they want to do a CT scan with contrast. They are covering up something. Last Monday, they said they would get the nutritionist, and 6 days later, still no nutritionist come to see him as he was difficulty swallowing because nothing has wet his mouth or throat. Only a miracle can save my dad now. Only a miracle. I've heard that the hospital is called a cemetery because people die there once they go in. How can a patient develop bed sores in a week? I just can't fathom it. Please don't take your loved ones to this hospital. Elsewhere is better. Even home would be better. 2 months ago. Worst hospital ever. I recommend that you go somewhere else immediately. You will be waiting for a room or hallway for 4 hours. When they do call your name, it's another 4 hours waiting for a doctor. When you ask for assistance, they forgot about you for another 2 hours because they are too busy sitting there chatting with each other. If I didn't have a broken right foot, I would have walked off, which is what everyone does when they're forgotten to 10 to 12 hours. That's a different email here. Wait, this is response 5 years ago, but this review is 2 months ago. All right, 2 years ago. If I could give this place 0 stars, I would. This hospital is terrible. If you ever come to this place, turn around now. My father was admitted to the hospital since his sugar was low and he had high blood pressure. He had blacked out and fainted. The staff was horrible. The unit secretary was rude and not helpful at all. She told us to call back in 45 minutes for an update, and when we did, she was not compassionate and tried to brush my mother and I off, stating that COVID patients are a priority and the nurses are busy with other patients, so we need to calm down. She then, mid-sentence of us speaking with her, transferred us to someone else, which was another nurse who seemed agitated, and then hung up on us because we were concerned about my dad. To get a call saying he's discharged, which we were happy about because Florida Medical is known for being a horrible hospital, so we wanted him out of that place. The unit secretary lied and said she spoke with the doctor and said he doesn't know what's going on, but he's getting discharged. They left my dad outside by himself, still weak and not orientated. They said my dad had someone out there with him and that security and staff was outside, which no one was. And when we came to the hospital, my dad was outside on the ground alone. He had fell and hit his head on the trash can and had to be admitted to this hellhole again. The PM triage nurse called police on my mom and I, said nasty comments to us. He was not helpful, and the other nurses lied and left my dad for dead. The nurses had no compassion. Terrible hospital. Never again. The ER nurse needs to be fired. He called the police on several patients the whole time, and Mom and I stood out there. Left the outside for hours. 2 years ago. Please do not go to this hospital. Spent almost 2 weeks in their care. The hospital staff that I came in contact with needs more training on how to be more compassionate. Quality of care was at a bare minimum. Most staff was not equipped to deal with the sick. Left unattended 90% of the time. It's not given the care or medicine needed to make a more speedy recovery. Communication was at a minimum, non-English. Most of the staff seems as though they hated their job. Luckily, I had a family that checked on me daily. FMC, you all need to do better, please. Thank you! Remney likes. A year ago, worst hospital ever, very unprofessional. The nurses clearly chose the wrong career path because they all seem to hate their jobs, and the hospital has heroes work here all over the building. Well, none of these so-called heroes understand the assignment of being a hero because they all act like they don't want to do their job, and you're bothering them by asking them to do their job. And most definitely never Baker Act someone in this hospital. Even if you need something as simple as drawing blood, don't go here. A year ago. First of all, I went at 7:30 p.m., waited outside in the freezing cold for over 7 hours, waiting to see a doctor. When I expressed how cold outside was waiting to see the doctor, the nurse said, "Welcome to the COVID era." I'm not aware of any other hospitals that leave their patients outside in the cold. Registration and all vitals are taken outside in the cold of night. They don't seem to be in a hurry to do anything here. Your best bet is going somewhere else. Don't get me wrong, some of the doctors and nurses is really nice, just someone needs to rethink their process when it comes to patients waiting outside in the elements. Here we go. 2 years ago. This is the worst hospital ever. Their staffs are rude as hell. They refuse to let you talk to your family member. If you calling asking questions, they get rude, and yes, they will hang up in your face. I'm surprised this establishment is still open. I haven't heard from my brother in 3 to 4 days, and they still refuse to let me talk to him and answer questions that our family needs to know. Far as I know, he could be dead. This hospital doesn't save people, it kills people. If anyone is reading this, never send your family member there because we'll never know anything. I prefer you going to Imperial Hospital or Cleveland Clinic.
I just left Florida Medical Center where I was tortured and bruised out of this interest. Florida Medical Center emergency. Oh my room. Oh my God, I'm in excruciating pain. That's why you hear me talking like I'm in excruciating pain. This is the worst excruciating pain I ever had. Oh my God. I called 911 operator early this morning, and they wouldn't do anything about it. Wouldn't call the police, or wouldn't call, or they said we're going to send an ambulance, and said ambulance never even came. Oh my God. The dispatcher, the Broward County Sheriff's Department, along with the Florida Medical Center, plotting, scheming, conspiring together. They're collaborating on this torture and wouldn't even do nothing for me. Oh my God. They approve all of the torture and abuse that they did to me.